Good afternoon, class. So today we will talk about the current affairs of 16th of April, and the first news is related to the center to push judges appointment. What is the issue here? The First of all, you need to understand who appoints the High Court judges and the Supreme Court judges. This is the authority of the Chief Justice plus four senior most judges of the Supreme Court. They decide amongst themselves that who should be appointed as the judge of the High Court and who should be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court. Now, in that, this was a case that happened, although the Constitution does not define any particular procedure for the appointment of the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court, but there have been cases that have happened in the Supreme Court of India called as the third judge's case in 1998, in which it has been decided that when it comes to High Court, there will be the Chief Justice of India plus two senior most judges who will decide or give recommendation to the government, and the government from the President of India will appoint the judges of the High Court. Now, in that particular part, there were in the High Court 220 vacancies, against which the Chief Justice of India have given a list of approximately 100 people, but the center is sitting on the list. They are telling to the Supreme Court Chief Justice that sooner or later they are going to appoint those particular person, but still they have not appointed that. So now the Supreme Court have taken cognizance of that. They have asked that give us the timeline under which they will be appointing all this particular person to the respective high courts for which court their appointment has been basically recommended. So that is all. We will discuss the judge of the high courts and the judges of the Supreme Court in polity lecture, but for this particular part, just remember that that is also one of the important tussle that we have to understand today. The next news is related to, I think straight away we will be jumping to the article if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So the article is Multipolarity scripted by middle powers. So what does Ahmed, the writer of this particular article, is saying? He's saying that too much focus is currently situated on USA and Russia. I will give you the crux of the matter. The rest of, I think, matter you can read and understand on your own, because already we have talked about what are the strengths of China, what are the strengths of USA. So USA want to promote democratic value, they want open and free Indo-Pacific, they want upholding of the right, they want freedom of the press, all those particular issues that are related here. On the other hand, China want to create a type of a close-knit group of Asian regionalism in which the Asian countries are supposed to get together for the better benefit of the economic prosperity and the security amongst, and they are against the Western hegemony. Now, in that, there have been various other countries who are basically deciding that what will happen over the time. So this particular article says that right now most of the people are looking the world in the way of what USA and Russia are actually wanting them to be. So when we talk about when we talk about China and USA, we are talking about only these two countries and the strengths and the not so weaker points that they are not highlighting out in the open. So we are talking about that. Let us change our focus from these two particular countries to the middle countries who may be the deciding factor in the world polity. For example, India, Japan and Turkey, these are the three major countries who could become the centers of the multipolarity, and they can basically try to shift the bigger nations in collaboration, cooperation or confrontation with one another. And if any kind of this particular thing happens, they may have a substantial weight in the world politics or in the world arena to throw behind the bigger countries on various issues. And for that, he have also suggested the various things that the other countries can do. For example, right now India has been the major partner of USA. We have already known that. India is also engaging with Russia, although Russia have been much closer to China, but Russia does not have the metal right now that it can compete with the US counterpart. For that, they have a closer cooperation with China. So we can ask for a multipolarity if all the three countries that are situated under Japan, India and Turkey are also, which are called as regional power. They are going to balance the region in one way or another. They are going to pursue the international powers. They are going to have a positive and negative effect both on the international powers with respect to the support, strategy, regional corporations and other issues that will be relating with that. Now, when we talk about there are different kind of ties that are needed to be going to happen in the world. For example, if we talk about trade, then Japan is basically is one of the major trading partner of China, but it is more strategically closer to USA with respect to the defense and security. On the other hand, European Union is a part of NATO, that is in security concerns they are closer to America, almost existing or almost having all their supplies or taking care of the security of the region is in the hands of the American Air Force. We have already understood. Now, in that particular part, there have been issues with respect to the corporation because European Union have recently signed a pact with China to open a free trade agreement which directly will transport products from China to the European Union. And Russia is also making inroads in supplying gas and water facilities to the nations that are surrounding the Baltic Sea. So already we have discussed about everything what is happening in the world, but the multipolarity, if it is needed to be or going to be happening in the world, it's only going to be because of the middle powers who are present in the world. Okay? इस बात को ध्यान रखिएगा. The next news is India, Australia must stand together. This is said by Morrison. Already we have talked about. Now he is talking about the common values that we share with respect to the democratic freedom and the commitment. Then there are issues that are related to the geopolitical reality. For example, when we talk about Indo-Pacific Ocean, again the China's influence is there. There have been various problems with respect to the coal exports. Recently, China have blocked some of the exports of coal, and coal, India is one of the biggest buyer of the Australian coal. So definitely we are, as the economic interests are with one another, we are definitely going to be getting closer directly or indirectly. There is going to be strategic balance that Australia is also going to put behind India if they want to counter China, and if they want to cooperate with USA, then they are going to collaborate with India. So I think already you know Australia is a part of a Quad member. For the first time, they have participated in the Malabar exercise, and in the Malabar exercise, they have basically shown their intention with respect to the cooperation closer, both with respect to the economic, strategic, and technological, and even the environmental cooperation that USA is currently revamping with respect to securing the Paris climate change ideals below 2 degrees Celsius. So I hope this is clear. The next one is UNFPA population report launched. So this is My Body is My Own. This is a bodily autonomy or a report that has been given with respect to the various countries, in which it has been articulated that how free are women with respect to the decision of the reproduction in their own country. Now, when we talk about the decision of the woman, they are not completely free within a particular family, and this is also one of the criticism of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy 1970 Act, in which there have been various proprietors of the women rights who have said that the women have not given the authority basically to decide that when and where to terminate the pregnancy under which circumstances, although this has made under the provision with respect to the doctors and the board. So that is inhuman to the decision or the human rights of the woman, and that is one of the things that they have basically debating about. And this is how the UNFPA have also launched a report, and the report name is My Body is My Own, and I will decide what will happen inside of my body. But then again, there will be ethical issue whether you regard that particular children who is 8 months old or not is regarded as a human or will not be regarded as a human. If there are serious complications that may happen and that may create trouble for that particular person for the rest of life, should he be allowed to born? Should the abortion be the things? There may be other factors that may be involved in that, for example, economical, social, political, religious functions. So all these things are needed to be debated, but this is what UNFPA have done. They have simply said that how free are the women basically to decide that what happens with their body, whether it required with respect to pregnancy, whether it is with respect to the opportunities that they are getting, both economic, social, and political, with respect to the contraception services or the other engagement or the safety of the woman from rape and other threats or intimidation, or even type of a dignity of the woman, if it is that is, or if that is destroyed in one way or another. So these are all that have been discussed, and UNFPA have given a very mere condition that only 57 developing worlds do not have the right to, that in the 57 developing nations, the women do not have even the right to take their own decisions regarding their bodies. Okay, I hope this is clear. The next news is related to US imposed new sanctions on Russia. So the tussle is currently going on and there have been individuals that have been blocked. So what will you do if you want to impose sanctions on the other countries? You will block their business, their diplomats, their people who are in power. The ambassadors will be asked to ramp up their facilities, and so the Russian nation is also going to retaliate. In the same manner, there will be certain people who will be called, and what is the reasoning that US is currently doing or giving to its own people is that they have been meddling in the election with respect to the presidential election that happened in the last year, and the cyber attack that have been launched on some of the major firms, software attack which have direct or indirect implication with respect to the security infrastructure of the nation of USA. So these are the attacks that have happened, and they have agreed with respect to the issues that Russia's hand overtly and covertly both was involved in that, and therefore they have asked Russia to maintain a safe distance and asked some of the people and the individuals who have been blacklisted, and they have been asked to go back to their own country. The next one is US climate envoy carrying the first China visit. So on 24th of April, sorry, not on 24th of April, but sooner, I think in the month of May, there is going to be a climate change. I hope you already know that the US is now pushing for a deadline with respect to the net zero emission. There is a huge debate right now that is currently revolving around net zero emissions and the Paris climate change goals. Already we have known about the Paris climate change goals. The main theme of the Paris climate change goal has been the common but the differential responsibilities. I hope you remember, we are just completing the environment. So by the end of the, I think 15 days, you will be able to understand what is Paris climate change goals. Apart from that, there have been net zero emissions, the new debate that has been now coming up to the forefront, in which the US is currently maintaining pressure on India to basically come on the table and talk about the net zero emissions, or at which point they will be achieved. India have said that already the Paris climate change is a deal that has not been implemented on the ground as in practicality it should be. So the revival of the Paris climate is more focused to India as compared to the net zero, because it is not going to be beneficial for India, is also not going to be beneficial for the world. So in that respect, they are also going to China and having talks with respect to the climate change in China. So please remember, USA and China, out of the total emissions that are generated within a particular year, are 50% plus emissions are emitted by these two countries. The next one is Sri Lanka opposition challenges bill on the Chinese-backed port city. So there have been petitions that have been highlighted in the court. Nothing sort of is going to happen. Already they have been allocated that particular port, but we will have to see what the Sri Lankan court will give the decision with respect to the port, because the people have alleged that the parliament have given against the labor union, civil society, and the direct effects on the Sri Lankan economy it will have. So they are negative effects that are going to be happening if this particular project goes ahead with. That is what they have said. The next one is WPI inflation quickens to record of 7.4%. So WPI inflation is increasing. That is wholesale price inflation. I have already told you wholesale price inflation is adjudged at the basis of the factories. Now in that there is a partial transmission to the CPI inflation. In the CPI inflation, the food items are having the maximum amount of inflation. So that is the problem. Right now the edible prices are increasing. Already we have seen that the prices with respect to the household cooking oil is increasing. The second one is the vegetables, and the third one is the fruits. So these are the three commodities that have currently become very costly for the people, and that too in the time of the COVID, where the surge is currently happening, and the people with respect to the nutritious diet are taking more measures so that they could have some form of immunity that could be developed against the virus. So that is a type of a thing, and if God forbid any kind of lockdown is being imposed, the WPI and CPI is going to increase and will shoot through the roof, because again the supply chains will be disrupted, and when the supply chains will be disrupted, the essentials will be blocked, and if the essentials are blocked, the WPI and CPI will be increasing in the absence of the labor. That is also on the shorter side during the lockdown, that the people, because people move from one place to another amid the lockdowns when they are imposed in search of work or in search of rural work, which is reflected in the MJ Narega demand of work, which have now allocated been a total amount of 1 lakh crore rupees. So I think that is it for today. तो आज के लिए इतना ही करते हैं.